All right, so bear with me. It is literally 6 a.m. in the morning, and I kind of just wanted to make a video before I head out for the day. But I kind of just wanted to say, hey, just be very careful. This is something that a lot of people don't understand, especially new traders. New traders don't even really look at the whole market. Guys, you have to remember that even though Microsoft is doing, good earnings and stuff. Guys, the moving averages were incredibly high and spiking through all the Mega 7, all through the indexes. But you have to remember how big these stocks are. So if you don't understand this, you need to understand that, if you have two or three stocks that are rejecting from the top, like, Amazon had a bad earnings. That is 8% of the NAS, the entire market of the NAS. On the sp500, that's around 5%. On the triple Qs, that's around 6%. So be very careful because these numbers are adding up. A lot of bears are actually coming back into the picture. I'll show you that through the indexes and through a couple other Mega 7. But what about Microsoft? It's doing so great. Guys, Microsoft is not the whole entire market. Apple is not the whole entire market. You got to remember that it's a chain reaction and everything moves together as one. I've been warning you guys for a couple weeks now, but guys, you've been posting, or Naz, you've been posting a lot of videos the past couple months. Guys, this is what I'm talking about. This is just something simple. I'll go over the index in a second. But just remember, those people that are in the comments saying, well, for 2 months, you've been saying the same thing. Literally one day, all these people got wiped in months. Literally 2.5 months of just Amazon ticking up, got wiped in one day. So to the people that are in my comments saying, well, you've been posting about this, you've been saying about this. Yeah, because I tried to warn you guys ahead of time. Because if you're buying shares, say if you're buying shares in the triple Qs or in Amazon around 530, or even Amazon from 216 all the way to 234, and you thought, oh my gosh, it's from 216 and it's at 234, I'm just going to keep on buying calls because, I'm just going to just risk it because, we're never going to go down. Guys, you have to remember that we drop harder than we rally in the market. And this is what a lot of other YouTubers are talking about also. So just remember that, guys, a lot of people, or a lot of Mega 7 and indexes are breaking their 20 moving average. Does that mean we're going to crash? No. Does that mean that we're going to probably bounce? We could. Does that mean that we're probably going to make new highs? Probably not, because a lot of the Mega 7 are breaking their 10 and 20 moving average. Now, this is something I was talking about earlier in the indexes. I'll show you in a second, where we'll probably reject, hit that 50, and probably bounce in between, and then get maybe another rejection later on. But if you did not short or something like that, and you're thinking, oh, I'm going to short because it's breaking the 50, this is a great opportunity. Guys, you missed your opportunity. Yeah, it's not fair sometimes. Sometimes you don't hit it perfectly. But that doesn't mean just because you break your moving averages go all the way in. That's probably something you don't want to do, especially if you are just one of those guys that are just can't stop. But here's something that I do want to talk about also. Here's the NAS. Since the NAS can, actually has movement on, after hours. So all these people right here that have been trading in the NAS all the way back from the 15th of July got wiped in one day. If you go back to the sp500, all those people that were trading pretty much probably back from, you could say July 3rd, but if you got on the low end, you're probably breaking even by now. But yeah, all these people got wiped. On the triple Qs, I think we're at what? I think it was 558. Let's actually take that off really quick. But yeah, all these people that were trading all the way back from July to 15th, isn't that funny how the same dates are the same thing on every index, got wiped in one day, just like that. And the market is not even open yet. And I've been talking about this. It only takes one red day to wipe this kind of top. And you need to be very careful. Now, just because we're at the 20 moving average and we're barely breaking out does not mean we're going to just keep on dropping. We could. We absolutely could. We do have more reports coming up. I think we actually have, let's actually go to Bitcoin because it's usually on here. On Bitcoin, yeah, we have non-farm roll. Let's see, it's the first. So this would be probably the time this video comes out, it'll probably be already on. But if the unemployment rate or the non-farm payrolls, it could make us bounce, or it could push us farther down. It's a little bit too early to tell, and I think there's another report. That one doesn't really matter. That one doesn't really matter. But yeah, just be very careful, guys. But let's actually go over the charts because this is something I want to talk about. And this is something right here on Bitcoin, right here. This is what I was pretty much talking about, how the 20 would get above the 10 moving average. And then the 10 moving average would get below the 20, and then you'll see the rejection off of that 10. If you want a good example, let's just go back a little bit back. Let's actually pull up a bigger time frame. If you want a good example, this is what it looks like. You'll see the 20 get right above that 10 moving average, and the 10 will get below the 20, and you'll start seeing the rejection. And this Bitcoin is the same thing. So let's actually go over the indexes really quick and look at the levels, especially the Mega 7, especially if you're shorting or something like that. You really need to look at the moving averages. But let's actually look at the moving averages really quick. But you can see that we are pretty much on support, or we're probably fighting for life. Now, this is what I was talking about, especially in the triple Qs or the Mega 7. That 50 moving average is going to come into play, and it is going to wipe everyone up here off the board within days. So this is the, let's actually pull up this. So here's the NAS, and we are breaking that 20 moving average. If we do keep on dropping, you will tap around 22,000, around 22,400. And then also on the sp500, we are breaking that, I don't know, let's see it click really quick. Yeah, it is below the 20 moving average. Not by a lot, honestly. That's what I'm saying, is we could have a small bounce and probably hit that 10 moving average, or we could go right back up to the top and reject again and just trap more people. But yeah, if this does keep on pushing on the sp500, you are looking around 6,150. That will be around the 50 moving average. And then also on the triple Qs, this is something I've been talking about. A lot of people, I'm talking about a lot of people. This is how it usually starts in the bear market, is you'll start to, especially back here when we were doing these kind of pushes, and this was a different kind of economic stance back in 2022, GDP was different, but a lot of people are so used to this kind of movement. When we were pushing like this, we were blowing past the 10 and 20 and the 50, everyone was screaming, this was just a small 8% correction, it's going to go higher. Guys, we had to cut rates back here too. That's what you do. You don't cut rates before a bear market. The only way you can cut rates is to drop the market and then start cutting rates to get ready for the next bull market. And we haven't even gotten there yet. The show hasn't even started. But yeah, if this triple Qs and the other indexes and all the Mega 7s start to push their 50, you will see 554. 541 on the triple Qs, which isn't hard at all, honestly. You're at 557 right now. 1% of the triple Qs in a drop is around $5.60. If you have a real red day, like 4% in the market, that's going to be that would be a what? Let's see. So around a $30 drop in the triple Qs, or 20? I can't do the math. It's like 6 a.m. So bear with me. But either way, one red day can blow past all these moving averages, just like this. So if you've been buying shares in the Mega 7 or in the triple Qs or in the indexes or anything, and it has this kind of push, it's moving with the market, it can get wiped within 2 days. So that slow uptick that's been drawing in people, and you've been reading that stuff on Facebook, we're going higher because it's a bull market. Guys, we're at 4.5% interest rates. You cannot have a bull market going into interest rates like that. That's insane. That would be the first time in history if that ever has happened. But just be very careful. We do have support around 541 on that 50 moving average. That's going to be your first really big support level. On the Nasdaq 100, it is also blowing past the 20 moving average. Pay attention to that 50 moving average. That's going to be your first big main support. Not, oh, that's going to be your first support. No, you could bounce off this 20. It could cluster in between all the indexes. It could bounce in between and cluster in between the 10 and 20 and then push to the 50. Or if it does push to the 50 moving average, you are looking around 22,300. On the triple QE, let's look at the equal weight of the Mega 7. It is blowing past the 20 moving average. So be very careful on all the Mega 7. Pay attention to this 50 moving average. That's going to be your main support, 97 on the triple QE. On SPY, let's actually look at it. SPY hasn't really Yeah, it did break the 20 moving average. You can see it right now. But it could have a small bounce. You never know. So just be very careful. Now, if this does get about a little bit more halfway, it's running to that 50 moving average around 609. And then also on the Dow, look at the Dow. It is already saying, I'm moving first. I'll see you guys later. Let's knock this out. The 50 moving average is going to be your first main support around 43,576 or 9. On the Russell 2000, it said, I am not waiting for you. And these are small cap stocks. It's not really the Mega 7, but I think I have the list actually. I don't know. I'll look it up later. It's too early for that. I'm not going to go that in depth. But yeah, the Russell 2000, this is probably going, see where it's stopping? It's stopping at the 50 moving average. Isn't that weird how everything moves together, which no other YouTuber is going to tell you about? But yeah, all these people in the Russell 2000 that have been trading since 27th of June got wiped in one day. 50 moving average is getting hit right now. This is probably going to be a really big support. So around, it is on, the 50 moving average around 2,170. On the Nifty 50, look at it. It's already breaking its 50 moving average. It's moving way ahead of the market, and it's honestly, that's good for you because the faster that this goes down, the faster that you can invest. But yeah, there's really no support. I think the 100 moving average will probably be next if it's under. Let's actually look at it. Yeah, it's running to its 100 moving average right now as we speak. You do have support around the 100 moving average around 24,380. That's going to be your first really big support. Actually, I kind of want to leave that up on that. But let's actually look at the Mega 7, right? Because pre-market's up, so you can it'll kind of tell us where we're at. So the NAS 100, it is 7. This is honestly the 3 biggest stocks that you need to pay attention to is NVIDIA, Apple, and Microsoft. But yeah, pay attention to how big they are. Look how big this is. How much they control that index. The NVIDIA is in all of these stocks. It is on support. It could find support around that 20 moving average around 169. But in the long run, if everything is pushing to the 50 moving average, you're going to see 153 hit on NVDA. Also on Apple. Apple is also breaking. It's probably, let me delete that. It is breaking the 10 and 20 moving average, heading down to the 150 moving average, or not the 150 moving average, the 150 moving average. You're probably going to find probably a lot of support around 205. So if you're in Apple, that doesn't mean buy calls. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's probably going to find support. And if you've been shorting, you're pushing it. That's what I'm saying. And especially in all of these Mega 7, if they're running to their 100 or 50 or 20 moving average, I'm not saying buying calls at all. What I'm saying is if it does push down to that 50 or the 100 moving average, or if it breaks the 20, you really need to pay attention because it can cluster something like this. And you don't really want to get trapped in that. That's what I'm saying. So if we do push down, you're going to find a main support around 205. And just remember, look how big these companies are to the indexes. So if you got 30% of the market, 40% of the market rejecting, blowing past the 50 and the 20, adding up, it's going to keep on pushing. On Microsoft. Now, here's the thing. There's one thing I do want to point out is, Microsoft had a good earnings. Does that mean we're going higher in the market? No, that doesn't. A good example is I had one conversation with our top mon. I do remember this day. It was actually back then. This was a really big movement back then. If you actually let me pull it up. I remember this day too. It was back in 2022 in December. We had earnings. We had a lot of reports coming out, and this is one of the December tops. So it was the last top pretty much. We had a really strong push in the market from earnings, but what it did was it triggered a chain reaction. So a lot of these smaller stocks, like how Amazon is having its rejection, but say if like Microsoft has a really big push, guys, if the market starts to reject and then Microsoft has a really big push and it starts to reject, it's going to keep on pushing it like it did right here. It blew past the 20, the 10, the 50, and it went down all the way down to support. And that's what you need to be very careful is if Microsoft starts to reject, it's going to push everyone past their 20 and the 10 and maybe even the 50 moving average. Why? Because, guys, it is huge. It is 13% of the Nasdaq 100. It's 7% of the sp500. It's 9% of the triple Qs. So if this top, which it already started to reject just a little bit, came back down to support, I could actually kind of probably update this chart. Oh, well, that's a little bit too much. Even though it's self-programmed, it does kind of go wonky sometimes. But you need to be very careful, because if this starts to push down to, say, its 50-moving average, that's a lot of push. I'm talking about if this starts to push, say if this drops from the top to the 50, you're looking at $20 on the triple Qs. That's how big Microsoft is. But if everyone else is pushing to its 50, this is probably going to push to its 52, around 487. Does that mean it's going to happen tomorrow? Does that mean go all the way into shorts? No, not financial advice, educational purposes only. But AVGO, right? AVGO, let's see where pre-market is. It is sitting right on that 20-moving average. If the market does reject more, if the triple Q drops more, this is going to start heading down to its 50-moving average around 263. And all of these people that bought shares, literally all of these people that bought shares, is going to get wiped in 2 days. This is what I've been warning you. This is why I don't post videos and warn you the day before. It's pointless. So all those people that didn't sell, you know, those people are going to get wiped, legitly. Let's actually update this chart. Let's actually delete that chart. I don't really trade Meta. It's not really one of my things. Meta did hit the top of the channel of resistance on this small channel. It's been going on since around May 06. But look at this. It is pretty big in the market. It's just almost like Amazon. If this starts to reject, it's going to run down to that 50-moving average around 693, and that's going to be a really big support, which it's also on support. Also on AMD. If AMD starts to push down with the other market, it is right above the 10-moving average. If everyone's pushing down another 20, this is definitely running down to 155 on the 50-moving average right here. That red right there, 157 or 155. But if the whole market starts to push down to the 50, you will see 136 on that. Amazon did have a bad earnings. It is sitting on its 50-moving average already. But here's the thing. The show might not be over for Amazon. If the whole market starts to push down, this will push Amazon down even more, down to that 100-moving average around 203. Tesla. Tesla is still kind of floating. It's kind of in a cluster, honestly. It's really, you know, really just doing sideways action. A lot of the moving averages above it is going to become a huge resistance. Definitely the 100 moving average around 295 is going to get hit. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it went down to main support around 271. And then also on Google. Google is fighting for its life also. It did break that 10 moving average. So all of these people, I'm warning you right now that we're buying and buying and buying. You're probably going to get wiped really quickly down to 177, and you just wasted nothing but time and money. But here's the thing. What can you back up this claim? Because that's my job as a YouTuber. I've been posting the last couple of videos about DXY. Let's go look at DXY because this is a good ratio. And this is something I've been talking about to my other mods. If anyone remembers, which I doubt anyone does because no one really trades like this because no one really sees it. What did Biden do to get his rates cut, right? If you don't remember, in 2020, which is a long time ago, or 2022, which is a long time ago, which I get it. Let's actually pull up the triple Qs. Let's turn off the moving averages really quick. Let's pull up the triple Qs. Here is the bear market. Here's the purple line. Here's the start of the bear market. What did Biden do? He pumped DXY. DXY is literally the last thing that other, you know, literally, it's either tariffs, DXY, you know, or the 10-year yield, or the Mega 7, or literally the president has a whole revolver full with 6 loaded shots he can pick from, whichever shot he wants to do. And that's what Biden did, and I have a feeling that's what Trump is going to go for. So don't be surprised, because DXY is not going anywhere. Though your grandpa or your friend saying the dollar is dead, the dollar will never die. It will always affect the market in some way. Now, here's a good, let's actually pull up the moving averages. here's a good, let's actually zoom in too. So DXY broke out for the first time since the start of the year. So 7 months in, almost, well, I guess 8 months now, it broke out of its 50 moving average. It is fighting at the 100 moving average. If this starts to push to 108, you're going to start seeing the drop of the bear market. Does that mean it's going to happen tomorrow? No. Does that mean it's probably going to happen in a week? Probably not. It could happen in 2 weeks. It could happen in 3 weeks. But what I'm saying is there is a early sign that this is saying, hey, it's time to shine. Let's get those interest rates cut. Also, on the 10-year yield, 10-year yield hasn't pumped, but I'm telling you, if this starts to pump and it's at its 50 moving average, it's just been consolidating. If it starts to pump, which usually does because it pushes with DXY mostly, you will see TLT drop a lot harder. Also, if you are in TLT, if the 10-year starts to pump, let's actually pull up moving averages, or pull off the moving averages. But if you start to see TLT or the 10-year, if you start to see the 10-year yield start to pump, you will see TLT hit around 77. So just be very careful. Now, if you are in healthcare, I talk about this all the time. Healthcare is inverted to the stock market. So just be very careful. If this starts to pump, it's because the market started to drop. So I know this doesn't look good. I know a lot of people probably got trapped. And this is the exact same thing. But why do you been posting videos for 2 months saying the sell-off is coming? Imagine a YouTuber making videos saying, hey, be very careful. We're consolidating. We could have a drop. Oh, but we're going higher in the market, guys. Be very careful. You can get wiped in 2 days. We're going higher. This is the rebound. We're going higher in the market. And then they get wiped. Yeah, there was bad reports. You know, the CEO did get killed and stuff. But it still works with the market. That really high push to around 574, that's where you got this really low end of UNH. Now, since the market's starting to drop, you will probably start to see this pump. Is it down to the 1 minute? No, it's not. It's a overall. It could happen in a week. But yeah, smaller companies, we're giving this warning ahead of time. Look at CRWV. God, dude, I feel bad for anyone dumping their life savings, and this is the new stock. All of these people got wiped all the way back down to the $100 bill. Now, here's the thing. It is on that 10 moving average. High chance of rejection. So if that does reject, there really isn't no support. TSM, I think that I've been still following that. Let's actually look at it. Now, this does look like it's falling. Yeah, it's pretty much falling the market by now. You can kind of see. I'll actually pull up the triple Qs. Pull up that. Yeah, perfect match of the triple Qs. So if the triple Qs does drop, you will see a drop in TSM. So just be very careful. If the market does drop to the 50, you will see 219 hit that on the point. Let's actually hide that really quick. Now let's go to crypto really quick because I kind of want to talk about this. If you are trading Bitcoin, you broke your 10 and 20 moving average. You're probably heading down to that 50 moving average, like I was pointing out. This is why I make videos and I warn people for a month or a month and a half, even 2 sometimes. All of these people that bought Bitcoin have been wiped. I think there was something about shorts. Guys, the people buying calls got destroyed. They're literally getting destroyed. Now, if the market starts to reject down to its 50, you will see this 50 moving average get hit around 111,000. But also, that was doing that before the market started to sell off with earnings. A good ratio to see what's going on in the market also is you can see bears are coming back in control. You can see the 10 curve, you can see the 20 curve in Dogecoin. A lot of the smaller coins are pushing down to its 50 moving average. Guys, it all works together. No other YouTuber is going to tell you this. Nothing. Sol, right? SOL. Broke its 10, broke its 20 moving average, heading down to the 50 moving average. It's all the same. Literally, it's all the same. If you're trading crypto, you're basically trading the triple Qs. If you're trading crypto and you're not, watching the triple Qs and learning rates and learning how economics works, you're going to lose. Unless if you're just rich and you dump $1 million in, you say, I'll come back in 5 years. Yeah, you're going to win. But yeah, if you're a short-term investor, you're definitely going to get wiped. But this is just the basic stuff that I've been warning you about, because I've seen tops like this. I called this top out when we were consolidating, when we were just tapping higher and higher and higher, and then we'd have a rejection and tapping higher and higher and higher. I'm like, yo, watch out. But we're going higher in the market. We're in a new bull market, and then we get wiped. All of these people that I was warning about for months, because I warned people for like 4 months straight, like saying, hey, be very careful. Just because we're tapping a little bit higher every time doesn't mean we're in a bull market. All of these people from July all the way back to February got wiped in 2 weeks. So just be very careful if you're an investor. Your time to shine, if you are a bull, is coming to an end, honestly. It's really coming to an end. I mean, maybe not tomorrow, maybe not, a week from now, but I'm just saying in general, you're pushing your limits around this level, honestly, around 565, 565 will be a little bit lower in the triple Qs either way, 558 either way. But yeah, you push your luck. Now, when I was making videos saying, hey, we bottomed right here on the triple Qs and around 400, stuff like that. Yeah, or the NAS, stuff like that. Yeah, you missed your shot. So, but market's probably going to rotate. Trump will get his rate cuts, and you need to be careful. Later, guys.